Yultong was collapsing, and Filipino soldiers had seconds to choose: retreat or charge into the dark. April 22, 1951. Korea. The Korean War was no longer only a Korean battlefield. Many nations had joined the United Nations Command to defend South Korea. One of them was the Philippines. The Filipino force was called PEFTOC, the Philippine Expeditionary Forces to Korea, and among its first fighting units was the 10th Battalion Combat Team. They were not near home. They were thousands of kilometers away from Manila, fighting in cold hills, unfamiliar roads, and a war that could change direction overnight. Then came the Chinese Spring Offensive. Across the front, massive attacks pushed against United Nations lines. Near Yultong, the Filipino position suddenly became one of the places that had to hold. Then the night exploded. Artillery shook the hills. Mortars hit near foxholes. Gunfire flashed through the darkness. Smoke covered the line, and orders became harder to hear. The Filipinos faced a much larger attacking force. But the real danger was not only in front of them. If nearby lines broke, the 10th Battalion Combat Team could be surrounded. One exposed flank could become a trap. One broken hill could open the road for more attacks. A forward Filipino position was overrun. Men were cut off. Wounded soldiers were still out there. Captain Conrado Yap heard what happened. He commanded the tank company, but in Korea, his men were fighting like infantry. And now the battlefield gave him a terrible choice: pull back and save what remained, or push forward and rescue the trapped men. He chose to go forward. Through the dark, through smoke, through machine gun fire, through a hill where every step could be his last. For more fast history stories like this, follow this page. Captain Yap led the counterattack. His men pushed toward the overrun position. They fought their way back. They reached the isolated soldiers. They helped evacuate the wounded. And they refused to let the night swallow their own men. But the fight did not stop. The pressure kept coming. The hill kept shaking. The line kept bending. Still, the Filipinos held. Then Captain Yap saw another wounded soldier on the slope. He moved again. This time, he did not return. By morning, Yultong was no longer just a hill on a Korean map. It became a story of Filipino soldiers who stood far from home, fought under impossible pressure, and protected each other when survival alone would have been easier. Captain Conrado Yap later received the Philippine Medal of Valor and the United States Distinguished Service Cross. The Battle of Yultong is remembered because the Filipinos did not only fight for a position, they fought for the men beside them. And in the dark hills of Korea, they made the world remember the courage of the Filipino soldier.